Hi again and welcome to another series of Together We Thrive. Today we are going to talk to a geophysicist. Now, many of you may not know what is a geophysicist, and I did not know either. So I am very happy and honored to have Encik Jamaludin Othman, who is a geophysicist, and currently he's the owner and principal geophysicist at subMAP Geophysical Services Sdn Bhd. Encik Jamal, hi, welcome to the program.
Yeah, hi everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me for this interview, madam.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I was quite curious to know what a geophysicist does, and I approached Encik Jamal to give us some idea, to shed some light into the job, the roles and functions of a geophysicist. Honestly, I've heard of a geologist and a geotechnical engineer, but not on this. Yeah, Jamal, would you like to tell us something about yourself?
Okay, I graduated from the university, a local university, Universiti Sains Malaysia, way back in 1983. I did my bachelor in physics, majoring in geophysics.
Okay.
Immediately after my graduation, I joined what was then called the Jabatan Penyiasatan Kaji Bumi, or the Geological Survey Department. Currently, it's named as a Minerals Geoscience Department.
Okay.
Okay, immediately after graduation, I joined as a geophysicist, and after about more than 30 years there, I decided to do things on my own. All right. The main reason was basically because Geological Survey Department was actually a government department.
Okay.
Right? A government department, when you rise up the hierarchy, you tend to focus more on your management and leadership rather than doing your technical things. So I was thinking maybe it's time for me to go back to my passion, doing geophysical work. So then I took an optional retirement at the age of 50 to go to do things on my own, back to geophysics. So I started my own tiny little company doing geophysical work. So that's basically, until now, I'm still a geophysicist doing geophysical work.
Okay. So currently you are providing consulting services, I believe?
Both actually. We are doing consultancy and also providing services, geophysical services to the industry.
Okay. I was under the impression that geophysicists would come under engineering, but you are saying it was offered, the course was offered in USM under physics, right? The physics department.
Yes, it was under physics. Frankly, I don't even know what is geophysics at that time when I first joined university. I was offered to do physics. Then I was thinking to myself, what should I be after graduating with a physics degree? But fortunately, USM has this majoring in a course called geophysics. So I thought, why not try this geophysical course? So I went to the seniors and talked about geophysics and asked them what it's all about, right? So that is the time when I got interested in doing geophysics. But the course in USM at that time was focused and geared to the O&G industry, the oil and gas industry, for exploration work. So what I'm doing now is very, very different from what was taught in USM before. So, but basically what we have learned in USM, the university, the basic courses is still applicable, even you are not in the O&G industry.
Okay. And I think you have been in this industry for the past 37 years, in this job for the past 37 years, right from the time you graduated, right?
Yes, I've been doing geophysics for the past 37 years, Like I mentioned earlier, the first 10, 11 years was the whole length of my career was geophysics. But then, like I said, when we move up the ladder in government department, you tend to lose your technical skills.
Yeah.
You are more into finance, management, and leadership. So you are losing your skills on technical ground. So after that, after a while doing that, it's quite sometimes that I left geophysics. So I decided I'm not into management and leadership. maybe it's time for me to go back to geophysics. So I went back on my own doing geophysics.
Okay. Now, what is geophysicist? What does a geophysicist do, actually?
That is a very, very pertinent and interesting question, madam. Right? Uh, Even my family, my kids, they know I'm a geophysicist, but they don't even know exactly what a geophysicist does. My daughter came back to me one day and say, Dad, my teacher was asking me what you are doing. I said, you are a geophysicist. Then she was mentioning that teacher asking her, what is a geophysicist does? So that is the time. Even to me, it's very difficult for me to explain to, the onlookers who ask me, you're a geophysicist, what are you doing? It's not like you're a policeman, you're a teacher, you're a doctor.
It's
So
not
you
something
just mentioned,
common. Yes, it's not
yeah,
something common. Yes.
no, it is not. So you mentioned doctor, you know what you're doing. Okay, geophysicist, someone, right? Someone deals with the earth using the principle of principle of physics. So we use physics principle to study the earth, basically the subsurface, right?
Okay.
So if you talk about geophysics, there are two main group doing geophysics: those who are in the oil and gas industry, and those who are non-oil and gas industry, which is where I belong, right? And sometimes this non-ONG is also called near-surface geophysicist. So near surface, if you define near surface, is something which is basically you're looking at less than 200 meters depth in terms of from the ground level.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So what a geophysicist does is that we make measurements on the ground level. Okay, with all the equipment. We have all the equipment, all the methods that we have. We measure all the parameters on the ground. But in the end, what we are trying to see is subsurface, inside the ground. So based on what we have studied, based on the principle of physics, we will try to look and interpret what does the subsurface look like, right? So if you are in oil and gas industry, for example, you look for where the oil attracts, right? So when you look for oil, where the oil attracts, you look for signatures, you look for what in our term we call anomalies, right? So we saw that, and this is all done prior to drilling, because drilling is very, very expensive. So with the help of geophysics, you minimize the cost of drilling and you target very specific areas where you should be looking for whatever you're looking for. If you are looking for gas, or oil, for minerals, for groundwater, right? So these are the things that you do actually. Basically, the measurements are all done on the ground surface itself. But what we are seeing, ground surface, inside the ground itself, what exactly is happening in the ground? That is what we're trying to say. Because there is no drilling done. In fact, we don't drill, we don't dig, we just use equipment and look what is inside the ground. That is what the geophysics does, right?
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you are not in oil and gas.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? What do you search for?
Okay. Other than the oil and gas geophysicists, the non-ONG normally focus on a few sectors. Basically, mineral exploration, right? Groundwater exploration, geotechnical investigation. These are basically what is the major scope of work in Malaysia itself, right? If you look at the mineral exploration, for example, people, let's say you're looking for minerals, right? Which are underground. Before you can do anything, before you can start mining, before you can start drilling, you have to know where are the location of these minerals, right? By doing geophysics, you can infer where the minerals are. So then you started to explain, or you started to do more jobs, more work to locate where the minerals are. But basically, over a big area, you don't even know where to look for the minerals. Right? Let's say, for example, you are given a piece of ground, right? So a big ground. So the first thing which comes to mind is, where are you supposed to dig? Where are you supposed to drill? Where are you supposed to focus your exploration work? So prior to this, the geophysicists will come in. They will do maybe in a simple, what we call it, scanning, right? We scan the whole ground and say, oh, okay, this is the potential place or site where we can find the mineral. Next step, you go and drill and dig for the mineral. That is what we do. Yeah.
Okay. So, are you doing, I mean, when you drill, is it for minerals or is it for water?
Both.
For both.
When they're drilling, it goes for either mineral or for groundwater actually. Even for construction purposes, they do drilling in, they call it SI drilling. So these drillings are done
Soil
for
investigation.
to study the subsurface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what is the difference? Sorry, before that, is there a particular qualification you need to be a geophysicist? Any paper
Okay.
qualification?
Okay. Locally,
Yes.
I don't know about other countries, but locally in our countries, you have to have a physics degree, majoring in geophysics.
Okay.
The only school doing this is USM, our
Oh.
local universities, right? The other universities are basically doing geology. Geology course, which with a little bit input of geophysics. Some of the schools in Malaysia, local universities, you can do your geology basic degree and you can do your further studies, your master's, for example, in geophysics. So these are the qualifications that you require. But now there seems to be another group calling themselves the geoscience people, right? Those days, you are either a geologist or geophysicist. Now, everything is lumped together and you're known as geoscientists now. Okay, so there are geoscience courses now, earth courses now, geology courses. But basically, you are having a degree in geology or in physics, majoring in geophysics. That is the basic paper qualification.
My next question is, how is a geophysicist different from a geologist and a geotechnical engineer?
Okay, it is actually a different field altogether, right? Let's say we go compare between a geologist and geophysicist. First, uh, we might have the same target, the same objective. For example, a geologist look for mineral, a geologist look for groundwater. We does that too, right? We look for groundwater, we look for mineral, but in our own way. A geologist normally depends a lot on outcrop or rock samples. Over an area, they will look for rock samples or soil samples and try to develop a geological model of the subsurface. We will work very differently. We use equipment. We don't look or use sample as our main tool. We use equipment as our main tool. So the equipment, when we develop the equipment, we make the measurement, we try to look at the subsurface. The same thing as a geologist does. The only difference is the tools are very different. The geology look at samples, rock samples, soil samples. We don't, right? So we use equipment to look at the subsurface. As far as the geotechnical engineer is concerned, geotechnical is more focused on development or designing foundation, which we are not involved at all. But somehow or other, our input to the geotechnical engineers are sometimes used by them. We do provide them the subsurface information to them. We provide and we do the investigation, we do the surveys, we provide them the input for them to design whatever foundation they feel which is right for the construction purposes. That's the difference between us.
Okay. So you do work together with geotechnical engineers at times?
Very closely, in fact.
Okay.
So I've been working a lot with geotechnical engineers. I know what they want. I know what are their requirements. We don't go beyond our scope of work. So there is a boundary. So the geotech engineer will normally inform us, these are the things that we are looking for. These are the things that we are, the issues, what are the issues? So they will explain to us, then we try to provide them the input for them to resolve the issues.
Okay. What are some of the challenges you face in this job?
The challenges is one of the challenges that we normally face is to try to convince the clients what we are actually doing. That is very, very difficult, and especially when the first these clients are first timers. They just knew about geophysics and wanted more about geophysics. To convince them is not easy. You got to talk to them, explain to them, and the clients are sometimes very technical people. They ask a lot of questions before they decided that, okay, the geophysics can be used for their purpose. That's basically the most difficult part, because when you're on your own now, like what I'm doing. So convincing the client is very, very challenging. So sometimes, but once you have convinced them, once you have done a good job, then there will be returning clients, they will call you when they have issues, they call you when they have problems, who to look for.
Okay.
Okay. That is one. The other challenges is logistic. Sometimes we have to do things, we have to do the field observation, the field data acquisition using our equipment at odd times. We don't need, you can't do it during the day, right? So we have to do it sometimes in the middle of the night to early morning. So
Why
we have
is
to
that
do
so? Why do you have to do it at night? Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do surveys crossing main roads and highways. So the best time to do it is, of course, middle of the night when there are less vehicles to the early morning. You can't do it during the day, right? So you got no choice. We have to do it. So with the help of the client, sometimes we do traffic management and those kind of things, safety equipment and all the safety measures that we have to take before we are allowed to do the service. So that is another challenging, the challenge to us. For me, it's logistic. It's not so much of the acquiring of the data, doing a lot of processing and interpretation, but the logistic, the challenge, dealing with the clients, these are all there. It's very, very different when I was in the government department. Government department, you'll deal with the clients less, right? So you don't go to the clients. The client nobody come to you. But here it's very different. You got to go to the client, you got to explain to them, convince them that this geophysical methods will work for what they are doing, for their purpose. So that is very, very, sometimes you miss the opportunity. You go there, talk to them, you came back, disappointed. There is no feedback from them.
Okay.
That is how it works.
I think in one of your posts recently, I think last week, you mentioned that, what do you call that? You don't have the luxury of sitting in the aircon office most of the time, right?
Yeah.
And you would be anywhere in a muddy construction site or a leech infested swarms. I'm taking verbatim from your post.
Okay.
In a mosquito infested rubber plantation or a oil palm estate, right? Even offshores, right? So you don't have the luxury of like this sitting in the aircon office. It's more like out there, outdoors. Yeah, is that one of your challenges as well?
Yeah, basically we do our projects not inside the office. The project site is everywhere, all over the country, right? So like I mentioned, we work in swamps before, we work in paddy fields, anywhere where our services are required. The only time we are back in the office, we just do processing, the interpretation and report writing. Then you go back to the field again, right? So if you are doing, for example, mineral exploration, you'll be camping deep inside the jungle for 2 or 3 weeks before you come out. You should do your data collection. You do your, you have everything there in. It's basically very different from, I think, the ONG people. The ONG people, maybe their work take them to the platform, the oil platform. I think the oil platform has everything there. It's just like a small town. But not us. We are there, we are inside the jungle, we are in the swampy ground, we are in the muddy construction sites, everywhere. The moment that work is done, normally it would take about 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how big the project is. Then you come back to the office and you start doing whatever needs to be done, especially your data processing. Yeah.
And that's another challenge, like being away from the family, isn't it?
Yes, it
For
is.
that period of time, right?
Yes. When I was, in my younger days, you have to sacrifice your time 2 or 3 weeks, you are away from the family. But as age is catching up on me, this outfield field work is normally requested my younger generation to go and do it. I don't normally go to the field for long nowadays,
Okay.
So I just go for 1 or 2 days, look at everything, make sure everything is going the right way. After that, you just come back. But normally it's about 2 or 3 weeks. You're doing your film. Yeah.
But there are some good sides, good aspects of this job. Like you said, if those who are adventurous and who love traveling, who love the outdoors, then this would be a very good profession, isn't it?
Definitely. If you love the outdoor, you are the outgoing type of people, Yeah, you should think of doing geophysics. You know, you travel everywhere, right? Like I mentioned in my
Mm-hmm.
posting, I've been everywhere. I've been to length and breadth of the country. You know? Even to small island, only like I mentioned, where our navy was only the inhabitants there.
Mm.
Nobody else except the navy, you know, taking care of that small island. We went there to do some work. So you move everywhere. Your project site is everywhere, all over the country, right?
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Yeah.
But this is really outdoor, not the outgoing, as in, outgoing to parties, but more
No,
like
no.
out, yeah, going to the wilderness, right?
Yeah.
Um, are there any, like 37 years in this job, are there any unforgettable moments?
Yeah, let me relate maybe the many moments that I have. Maybe I just relate two to you. One on the sad side
Mm-hmm.
and one on the lighter side. Okay. It was way back in 1987, all right? I was in doing some mineral exploration work deep inside the Kelantan jungle, right? A few days before the survey ended, my father passed away.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Mm.
But there was no way my people can contact me because I was way inside the jungle, right?
Mm.
So that time there was no communication at all. Don't talk about mobile phones or wireless. We got nothing. When we're inside the jungle, we are by our own, right? So I received the news of the passing of my father the next day when
Oh.
they were able to come in and reach me deep inside the
Mm.
jungle. So they came and told me that my father has passed away. So there's nothing much I can do. I packed my bags, although the survey wasn't really completed yet. Another, I think, about 3 or 4 days. So I went. They took me to back to town.
Mm.
From the jungle back to town. So when I reached home, my late father, they already buried the body. So I did not have the chance to meet him in the last breathing moment. Right. So
Oh,
it
that's
was
very
quite,
sad, isn't
yeah,
it?
it was sad. The other lighter moment side of it is when I was doing some work in a very small coral island off Sabah, off
Mm-hmm.
Labuan actually. It was a very small coral island, like I mentioned earlier. It was only manned by the Malaysian Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else was there. There is no fresh water
Mm.
in the small island, but they have this small desalination plant to desalinate the seawater,
Okay.
right? Okay. So when we have our drinks, coffee, tea, or whatever, you can still feel the saltiness, right, of the coffee and tea, even though the water has been desalined.
Mm.
Okay. But somehow or other at that time, it is good,
You have no choice.
Yeah, you got no choice. So
With
that was,
a pinch
that
of
was a
salt there,
quite
right?
something which
Okay.
is very memorable because I think you desalinate from the seawater, the saltiness is still there. It's not completely removed.
Mm.
So you can still feel the saltiness of your coffee and your tea, right? Okay, right. So
So
that is
like,
the
if you're talking about 20, 30 years ago, yeah, telecommunication was a bit difficult then. But how
yep.
about now? Like, do you get phone receptions when you're in the jungles?
I don't think so. Maybe at the fringe of the jungle, you can still have some reception. But
Mm-hmm.
you mean move in further inside the jungle, there is no reception. No point bringing also your own your mobile phone, right?
Mm.
So there is, I would say, no communication at all. It's not
Oh,
unlike the army when you have the wireless communication and those kind of things. We don't have those luxury. We
okay.
move in. Present day, we just hope there is signal. If there is no signal, then you just on your own inside the jungle. So that's how
Mm.
it works. Yeah.
And like now your team is going into the in exteriors and interiors of the Malaysia. Like, how do you communicate with them?
Okay. If there is signal, then there is chances that we can communicate. If not, we just have to wait for them to come back after 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that. But sometimes doing geophysics work is that you have to look at the data that you have acquired during the day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use your computer sometimes to look at it and say, okay, this data is good. There is no need for us to repeat the same survey again. But sometimes you don't have that opportunity because, you know, what's the point of bringing a laptop there inside the jungle where you don't have any power supply? You can't depend on the battery, of course. You know, it can last you maybe a few hours. After that, it's dead. So basically, there is no way to communicate unless if my team we have some emergency, which happens, then we got no choice. We still have to travel inside and look for them. That's the only way. Yeah.
So you said there is no electricity. So where does your team stay then?
We camp. We camp, right? We camp, and if we are lucky enough, we can have a small generator that we can bring along with us. Okay, where we we use petrol to run the generator. That's it. If we are lucky, sometimes there's no generator at all. We just stay there. We camp there. We have canned food, and maybe if we are lucky, 3 or 4 days. After 3 or 4 days, the team will go out and buy some fresh food.
Wow. So this is like real outdoor camping then?
Yeah, we camp. Yes, we camp inside the jungle for 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. Okay. And
so until the job is completed, because it's so deep inside the jungle, no point of, you waste a lot of time traveling. Of course, you can stay outside, some nearby places, but it will take you hours to get inside. So might as well camp inside the jungle itself. So it saves you a lot of time, a little bit of inconvenience, but okay, we survive.
After a while, you get used to it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like there's no electricity, you can't use your phone, you can't use your laptop. What else? You don't have the luxury of aircon fan.
Definitely.
So you have to, they have to build their own tents.
Yes.
And stay there for the next 2-3 days.
Yep.
And they have to bring a lot of water and canned food as well.
Not canned food, yes, but not water. Normally, we will, build our camp nearby rivers, right? So we got water supply there, but of course we have to boil the water before we drink it.
Okay. Yeah. So bathing is also near this river then. In the river.
Bathing is no problem. We just dip inside the river.
That's nice. That's really getting close to nature, isn't it?
Yeah. This is something very interesting as far as I'm concerned. I'm not against women into the field doing the job. I think women is as good as men. But the only issue is if women are to do geophysical work inside the jungle, there is a little bit of worry there, right? So most of your team, I would say 99% are men. So if you are woman geophysicist, you will be required to lead the team, right? So you'll be leading a team, and your team are all men. So I find it rather awkward, for a woman to be deep inside the jungle, when they have to go and do their bathing, and everything. So I don't know how women look at it. Right? For me, basically, I don't say I'm not against. Like I said, I'm not against them, but there is something that you should think about. When you are inside the jungle. But nowadays, I don't see a lot of work done in the jungle. So there are a lot of women out there for geologists and geophysicists. Because they are into things like groundwater, geotechnical investigation, which are basically near towns, not real deep inside the jungle. When you are doing real deep inside the jungle, it's normally for mineral exploration.
Okay. Yeah. And have you had any close encounters with any wildlife, any unwanted guests?
There was one incident, when we were camping, we made 2 trips, right? The first trip, we were camping inside there. After a while, after 2 weeks, everybody has lost interest and they got bored. Okay. So people will say, okay, let us go back and have a rest for 1 or 2 weeks and come back again, right? So we went back. After 2 or 3 weeks, we came back. We pitched our tents. We thought our tents were still intact, but it was all ruined, So it was run over by the elephants, in fact. So we have to build our own new tents. I have encounters, not really direct encounters with the animals, but we have seen some footsteps of them, right? Some large footsteps, and and some, roaring sound, but I don't have any direct encounter. But these are the indication. They are there actually.
Yeah, but just hearing the roar is enough to keep you awake at night, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were very scared. In fact, and my people said, I think let us go back. We won't be able to continue the survey. We'll do it the next day, right?
Yeah.
So it's sometimes we hear the roar and everybody was scared. So that is the life. that is the life inside the jungle. But normally we like to make noise inside the jungle. So there are a few of us normally. So we talk loud. So that scare them, so they won't be near to us.
Yeah, these are really some real life challenges, right? Working in the jungles.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But it's fun,
It's fun now. Look at them, then you have some fond memories of them, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. You used to comment on my post, and in one of my posts, I think you shared on the importance of communication skills and the importance of writing well. Could you elaborate on this, please?
Okay. We definitely have good communication skills, right? Like I mentioned earlier, we do deal a lot with clients, right? We talk to clients, we have discussion with clients, we have meeting with clients. Clients are clients, but you need some communication skills to convince them that you are going to do a good job for them.
Okay.
So there are skills there, right? Sometimes they require you to attend presentation, to do presentation, right? So you have to have skill to do your presentation. You got to communicate with them. You got to understand, to make them understand what exactly you are actually offering them as a service. Okay, so these are things which is very, very critical because it is your job. If you got the job, it is something that you require. If you don't have job, then it's very difficult for you to survive. As a small company, I need jobs. I need to go on doing my jobs, and I need more clients. Not only need more clients, but I need to convince these clients.
Yeah.
So you have to have this skill. Writing is another skill that you need. Clients sometimes, before you even do your presentation, they want a proposal from you.
Yeah.
So they wanted to know what the method is all about, right? So they wanted to write something before you come and see them face to face. So they write a proposal. You have to write a technical proposal. You have to prepare a financial budget, and all these are normally written in English. The clients are normally, you expect them, they expect you to write that, prepare them in English. That's why I was mentioning in my post that it's very, very critical for you to have strong English background where you can write well. Even when you prepare your report, your technical report, these are basically written in English, right? So even if you write in English, even if you write well, the client might not understand some technical things. You still have to go out there and still do the presentation and explain to them what are all these technical terms means to them. So it's very, very critical that you need to know. You have to have some kind of communication skill. Sometimes you need communication skill to move to what would I say? To get away from those very stinging questions which are put up by the clients, which sometimes you can't even answer on the spur of the moment. They ask you a question, but they expect you to answer at that moment. But you don't have confidence whether you're going to answer it the right way and the way which is expected by them. So you got to maneuver somehow, all right, to get away from all the situation. Definitely communication skill, oral and also written, is very important. Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to hire new staff, what would be your selection criteria?
Okay. I look at the staff when I interview them. I try to look at their commitment to the job which they are actually applying for. Not so much of their knowledge. I think the knowledge is that you can gain. Experience and knowledge, you can gain experience and knowledge after a while you are working. But the commitment must be there first, right? That is my first criteria. I would look at them and see how committed they are and how they are their willingness to learn and to go further in their career. That is very critical. The next factor that I would look for is their command of English. Yeah, in my work, I need somebody who can write and can talk in English to the clients because we are dealing a lot with the clients. If you don't have good command of English, I mean, your writing, you have to write technical things, you got to write technical papers, you got to write technical reports. These are all to be written in English. If not, going to be a very hard time for me to review, to edit all this report. It will be a lot of time wasted on that. So that will be my second factor. The last factor, only then I will look at their CGPA or whatever is that. I don't look for people with 3.8 or 3.9. Enough, if I feel that they are committed and their English is good, they can communicate well with the clients. The CGPA is just the third factor, which is to me is I put it a very, very low consideration as far as I'm concerned. I don't actually look at the CGPA. So I look at these two factors first. If it's there, then I look at the CGPA. Right? As long as they can perform, I think they can perform, then it's sufficient for me.
Yeah, they can learn things along the way, right?
Yeah, learning and experience, you can teach them, you can guide them, no problem with that. Even though if they are having low CGPA, you guide them, you make them interested in doing their job, you motivate them, you will become a very good worker. To be frank, madam, I myself, as far as CGPA is concerned, I'm not a high scorer, right? Maybe just above average, right? So, but then I find that the passion is there. I like to do my work. I love my job, right? Somehow or other, I was motivated to do the job and to pursue my career further as a geophysicist, right? So. For those, but sometimes people do look, they put CGPA as the top priority, right? I do look at, I know that a lot of companies put there, like if your CGPA, they have a cutoff value, for example, CGPA 3.5. Those below than that, straight away they ignore all these, those with lower CGPA. Those with above, they consider. I don't know, but I think it will just demotivate those who are with lower CGPAs. But lower CGPAs doesn't mean that they are not good worker. Train them, bring them up, motivate them. I think they will perform as well as those with very high CGPAs.
Okay. Just a quick question. Do you also have any vacancies at the moment?
At this time, no. Right?
Okay.
It's very difficult for me to. I know I have a lot of queries, a lot of applications, from geoscientists, from young graduates. But I'm very sorry, for the time being, I don't have any vacancy. I don't know. Maybe in the near future, I will open up and maybe.
Since I'm talking to you, I might as well ask if you have a vacancy. So okay, it's okay. Yeah. Any last message you would like to share with the viewers?
Okay. A geophysicist life is fun, it's awesome, right? So if you're interested in doing geophysics, don't think about ONG industry only. So I was surprised when those pursuing geoscience degrees, they were thinking that geophysics only exists in the ONG industry. It's not, right? So you can be a non-ONG in the non-ONG industry, the sector. And you can still have fun. But I feel that there is a vast difference. This is something that I need to really relate to people. Sometimes I have received offers before from recruiters, right? So they say, oh, you are qualified and we are interested in bringing you up to the client. So I told them, have you read my profile properly? I am a non-ONG geophysicist. And all ONG geophysicists is very different. Their scope of work from us is very, very different. Yeah. I can't jump into their bandwagon, right? A non-ONG geophysicist cannot just change and become ONG geophysicist. Yeah. It will take time. It can be done, but it will definitely take time. The experience in your non-ONG industry does not count if you are doing ONG industry, vice versa. Okay, so those who are thinking of the big money in ONG and are disappointed at this moment, do think of non-ONG industry. It is still there. I think it's going to always be there, because in construction industry, the development is still going on, right? People still search for groundwater. Still, people still search for mineral. So there are a lot of opportunities there. Maybe not right now, but I think it will develop somehow in the near future.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing on the roles and functions of a geophysicist. I mean, I have learned quite a bit of things from you today. Thank you so much. And do keep posting interesting stuff on your job. I think that there are more, parts to come in your post, right?
Yeah, I like to write my part in my posting in parts, so that is just strategy, so that people will wait for, there's another part coming out.
Okay.
So I would like to thank you, Madam Sumati, for giving this opportunity. To be frank, I was a little nervous, but really excited, right? Because this is the first time I'm doing such interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and do share your comments on my post as well, especially in encouraging the younger generation to improve their communication skills. I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much too. All right.
Okay.
See you sometimes again.
Okay.
We'll keep in touch on LI.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes. So viewers, we thank you, and I hope to see you in another Together We Thrive series. Thank you, and bye from me for now.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.